Hello everyone, welcome to the Elderflower Wild Crafting excerpt for our retreat gathering for our conference today. I'm here, it's 100 degrees, and I wanted to start off at this part of the property for a reason, because I want you to check out that tree, that bush that's right, I'm pointing to it, it's beyond the fence. That is one of our mama elders that I was blessed to discover up here. There are at least 3 or 4 of them. And right now, well, it's 100 degrees. It's slightly past the time to harvest fresh, live elder flowers. That time has come and gone for most of the plants on our property, especially this one right here because she sits in full sun. So we're going to venture out there and I'll show you what's happening with that tree in a moment. And I wanted to just take a moment to also talk about the why that I'm going to, the way that I'm going to be teaching elderflower crafting. So if you think about it, elderflowers are the precursor to elderberries. And we all now know the importance that elderberries have in protecting us from flus and colds and whatnot. So I have pretty carefully over the course of the last couple months harvested sparingly wild live elderflowers. I only harvested exactly what I thought I would need because my personal priority is I love the taste of elderflower liqueur, which we're going to get to in a recipe. It's so magical. I'm thrilled to finally not have to purchase and send across the country or across the state my own elderberries. So my priority was to let the flowers on this plant and the other ones on the property mature into elderberries. So we're going to be harvesting, or I've already harvested, we're going to be talking about how one would wildcraft elderflower liqueur by, I'm going to teach it harvesting in small batches. So instead of using a large mason jar, we're going to be using smaller size mason jars so that the elderflowers can be harvested in succession and the jars put up to make elderflower liqueur every other week or so. So that's basically what I've been doing, and I'm going to share with you the technique with some of the flowers, the final harvest that I took. So let's go ahead and we'll head outside the gate, and I want to share with you first this beautiful mama elderflower. She's not really a shrub, she's kind of like a tree, which I feel very blessed to share with you. All right, here we go. All right, so here we are headed out the gate and down the hill to this path that is not yet quite complete to our mama elder tree. Here she is. And they are kind of like shrubs. You can see that she's got some growth that needs to be, I'll probably end up trimming her up sometime after harvest this year. But I wanted to get a close-up here to see if I can show you what's happened to the berries that I've left on the tree. So these are what the flowers turn into. They are not really anywhere near ready to be harvested, but they're all up in the trees up there. See if I can zoom in. Maybe not. Oh, I was already zoomed in. All right, well, I'm going to take one more photo of the berries themselves, but I just wanted to show you the reason why I left so many of these on there is because these are all, hopefully, in good time, going to turn into beautiful elderberries. All right, hopefully that was helpful. Woo-wee, it's toasty out here. Where I want to take us next is actually to just about 100 yards in that direction on the property. Some footage that I shot just a couple weeks ago as I was harvesting the final elder flowers. That particular tree that I'm going to show us next happened to be nestled in the shade, so her process was a little bit more late in the season than this wonderful mama's process were. So here we go to the elderflower harvesting. All right, so here we have a smaller elderberry tree with some flowers actually still in bloom. As I mentioned, most of the elders on the property are larger trees and they're out in the sun and they've since gone to bloom. But this little lovely lady is in the shade, so I'm going to just reach up in a second and pull down the flowers so that you can see how to identify and what the flowers look like when you would optimally be taking them. Here's our lovely little elder plant. I'm gonna actually insert a photo here so that you can see it. This flower that I'm holding in my hand, the bottom one still has sufficiently ripe flowers that this would be a good one to harvest if you're going to harvest. The one above it, however, has already gone to the berry stage. So you can see by the next picture that once the plant gets to starts to lose its flowers, the elderberries are already coming on, which is going to be a different energetic part of the plant. Let's keep going up. So another way to identify elder, do you see that there's opposite leaves right up here? And they typically come in 5 to 7 on each side. So this lovely lady has 5 on each side. And if I close up, I'm going to take another picture here actually. The edges of the leaves are serrated. So that's a nice way to look and identify. So the flowers are 5-pointed. There's 5 little petals, sorry. And then the leaves here are opposite each other and serrated, numbered 5 to 7. Okay, so here are a couple of the fresh elderflowers that I've pulled, and we're going to add them to the dried elders that I pulled several weeks ago. The other thing to consider, so hopefully you can kind of see the 5-pointed flowers. These flowers should smell like sweet summertime. They have a really, not jasmine-y at all, but it does have a really mild, sweet smell. So consider the leaves serrated. You can kind of see this video is actually capturing the serrated part of the leaves, the 5-pointed flowers, and the sweet smell of summer as some of the easiest ways if you're going to try to wildcraft this lovely liqueur. All right, so we're here. This is my favorite part. This is the best and most fun part of, in my mind, any sort of wildcrafting, is getting to the place where the magic happens. So what I'm videoing here, there's a few different ingredients, but it's worth noting that there's only 2 things you're going to need. Elderflowers and 40 proof alcohol. So the elderflowers that I've had, actually they're all dried by this juncture. Oh no, the wind's gonna take them away. Stay there, guys. Some of them I've already got in the jar. I kind of wanted you to see the way they look dried. The ones that I harvested last week are already dry. So we're working with 100% dried elderflower for this particular concoction. Hold on. Oh boy, the wind came up and was starting to whisk away some of my precious wild harvest. So I've successfully gotten most of the free flowers are going to be in this jar right here. I've got these 2 guys are pretty safe because they are actually still 100% on their little bud pieces. But so you're going to need elderflowers, fresh or dried. Thing to think about there is if you're going to use dried, you're probably going to use about half the amount that you would use if you would use them fresh per jar. And that is simply because you can imagine when they're dried, they take up much less space because they've lost their water. So these guys are now all dried. And this is my 40% alcohol. You know, vodka is probably my go-to choice just because that's typically what tincture makers use if they're going to use something that's not just specifically distilled for the purpose of tincture making. But you can use whatever you want. If you have a particular taste for an alcohol, you can use that. The important part is that it is 40 proof so that it will be able to pull the medicinal parts of the plant, extract them with its high proof alcohol, as well as preserve the medicine. So 40 proof is what you're looking for. This happens to be vodka, and you'll see off to the side there I have a couple different lemon wedges. So in some alchemical recipes for elderflower liqueur, they recommend capping the tincture. Essentially what we're making is a tincture. It's called a liqueur because it's consumed widely. It might also be called a liqueur because you can add something like a lemon wedge, but really what we're essentially doing is an aspect of tincture making. So all we're going to do right now is reach down and take these lovely little flowers. Oh man, you guys get inside there. Scrunch them all down. Take our 40 proof alcohol. You want to make sure that you're going to cover all of the plant matter. And you probably want to make sure that you're covering it by at least 1/4 inch. The lemon wedges actually come into play, especially for small little flowers like the elderflower that can tend to float up. they're quite useful so that you can make sure that all of the plant material is actually, hopefully, kept under the lemon wedge. And then all we're going to do is take our mason jar lid. I'm not going to get it too tight here just to show you. We're going to close that lid, and then the process is going to take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, depending on your taste and how much of the medicinal aspects of the elderflower you're looking for. And you can tell, this is a kind of funny thing. So if you look at the outside of my mason jar, it's a little bit worn. One of the things that I like to do is upcycle the outside of the mason jar and then just repurchase the inside of the mason jar. It's a really wonderful way to continue to upcycle, which is one of my favorite things. So you're going to keep this in the cupboard somewhere where it's not too hot, not too cold, and once every couple days, if I had the lid on tighter, I would show you, you're going to shake this. So you're going to shake it to make sure that the plant constituents continue to interact with the alcohol. After about, I'm going to say 3.5 to 4 weeks is my taste. Open it up. See how it tastes. You can leave it in there longer if you want more elderflower taste. You can call it done if you feel like it's done. And by done, all you're going to do is take a sieve strainer and pour, say, from one mason jar into the other, the alcohol, but use a sieve to get the plant particulates, out, and the lemon peels as well. So all you're going to be left with is a wonderfully sort of light yellow colored, beautifully aromatic liqueur. So I had the inspiration to demonstrate what's going to happen in between probably about 5 weeks for your elderflower tincture or elderflower liqueur creation. So I've had several of these guys that I've been creating consecutively every couple weeks. So this particular mason jar actually has been put up for about 5 weeks. So it's about ready for me to strain it. So you'll notice, I don't know if you can see it here, but the alcohol has taken on a wonderful warm vanilla-y color. It's not quite super bright out here today, but what I'm going to do is just demonstrate the process of, here's an empty mason jar, here's our mason jar full of elderflowers, vodka, and a couple lemon wedges, and all you're going to do is just get some kind of a strainer and pour that liquid on through. You're going to obviously have less liquid than you started with. To your taste, you can just let all this sit. If you feel like you want to mash it into the strainer or squeeze it, you can do that. I find with elder, it's kind of nice to help the alcohol release itself from the petals of the flower. But here you can see this is beautiful golden elderflower infused with lemon vodka. All right, hopefully that's helpful. So, all you're going to do next is seal this liqueur up, label it with the date. It's good indefinitely, but put it up somewhere where you know exactly what it is, and that when you want to use it, you can use it. I'll move next to what ideas, options for using this elderflower liqueur. What to do with elderflower liqueur? Well, if you've ever heard of Saint Germain and the Violet Flame is an individual, but Saint Germain, the alcohol, this is essentially what we've just made. So anyway, if you are familiar with Saint Germain, anyway you might want to use Saint Germain, you can use that. I will post in the notes my favorite. It's a peach sangria that uses elderflower liqueur. You can use it as you would any other alcohol, with the understanding that you're working with potentially vodka if you followed my recipe, but you could make a margarita if you chose to infuse it with tequila, or you could just use this vodka infused elderflower liqueur and treat it as you were making a margarita, but understand it's elderflower margarita. So you're essentially going to be adding all these medicinal benefits and floral notes to whatever it is you're creating. And I have this little cup here because I wanted to share with you. This is my elemental offering cup. Right here is the entrance to, if there's a huge goddess spiral that's got to be about, at least 100 feet in diameter, that takes quite some time to walk in. But at the center of that spiral, I have an offering for the ancestors. And because there's so many elemental spirits up here, I love leaving offerings. They love wine, they love spirits, they love elderflower liqueur. So what I'm going to do is take some of these little flowers that were left over from the tincture making process, the elderflower liqueur making process, drop those into there because they also love flowers, and then I'm going to pour some of this alcohol into this cup and walk it into the center of this goddess spiral as an offering for the ancestors and for the elemental spirits. Gosh, that smells so delicious. I can't wait for you to try this. I can't wait to hear what you guys think are even better recipes. So look in the notes, and if I can't quite get it in the notes, I'm gonna create a separate page with some of the recipes for how you might consider using this elderflower liqueur. All right, tons of love.